She trusted the woman who carried her dreams. But one shocking secret changed everything. What happens when betrayal comes from the closest person you loved? Watch as one woman fights heartbreak, betrayal, and lies to reclaim her life in Abuja. This story will make you feel every tear, every heartbreak, and every moment of courage. Amelia Reed sat on her balcony in Jabi, watching the Abuja night breathe with lights and distant car horns. For the first time in years, her chest felt calm. After 7 painful years of infertility, she finally had hope again. Their surrogate, Linda Marshall, was 3 months pregnant. Amelia had thanked God every night since the news. Her husband, Daniel, returned home late from work. He kissed her cheek gently. His voice was soft. "Mia, everything will work out. Just trust the process." His words warmed her. She believed him. She believed everything was finally aligning. But at 10:47 p.m., her phone rang. Unknown number, unknown voice, unknown woman. But the message pierced her like a knife. "Madam Amelia, please be careful. The woman carrying your baby, she is not who you think she is. And your husband, he is hiding something." The call ended before Amelia could speak. She froze. Her heartbeat hammered in her ears. Her fingers trembled around the phone. She replayed the voice again and again in her head. The woman knew her name. She knew about the surrogate. She knew about Daniel. A cold wind touched Amelia's skin. Suddenly, the Abuja night no longer felt peaceful. It felt like a warning. She walked back inside the house, her steps slow, her mind racing. Daniel sat on the sofa, scrolling through his phone. He looked up. "You're shaking. What happened?" Amelia opened her mouth, but her voice failed. Something inside her whispered, "Don't reveal your fear yet. Watch first." So she forced a smile. "Nothing, just tired." But she wasn't tired. She was terrified. 2 days after the strange warning call, Amelia decided to visit the fertility clinic in Woos without informing Daniel. She told herself it was a simple check-in. But inside, she knew she was searching for something. Answers, signs, anything that made sense. The clinic smelled of disinfectant and quiet fear. Mothers-to-be sat in the hallway, rubbing their bellies with soft smiles. Amelia's heart tightened. She wished she was one of them. She walked toward the reception, but something made her pause. Linda, her surrogate, stepped out of a side room. And a few seconds later, Daniel walked out right behind her. Not beside her, not near her, behind her. Their eyes met for a fraction of a second, and Amelia saw it. A look she knew too well. Daniel's eyes carried a softness he hadn't shown her in months. Linda's shoulders relaxed the moment she saw him. 2 people who shared something they were not supposed to share. Amelia froze, gripping her purse. Daniel's face changed instantly when he spotted her. "Mia, what are you doing here?" Linda's smile vanished. She quickly lowered her gaze, her hands covering her small baby bump. Amelia stepped closer. "I needed to see the doctor and check on the baby." Her voice trembled despite her efforts to stay strong. Linda murmured, I'll wait outside," and walked away too quickly. Daniel cleared his throat. "Mia, you look stressed. You shouldn't worry about every little thing." But it wasn't worry. It was instinct. The same instinct that had whispered to her the night the stranger called. She pushed past him and met with the doctor, but the conversation brought no comfort. He spoke in circles, answering nothing directly. On her way out, she saw Daniel and Linda again, talking quietly, standing too close, sharing glances they didn't want the world to notice. And it hit her. A surrogate should respect boundaries. A husband should maintain distance. Neither was happening. Amelia hardly slept after the clinic incident. Her heart kept replaying Daniel's soft look toward Linda. Her mind repeated the stranger's call. Questions filled her like smoke, choking her peace. By morning, she made a decision. She would return to the clinic alone. This time, she would not leave with half answers. At the reception, the nurse greeted her with a polite smile, but something in the woman's eyes suggested she already knew who Amelia was and what she was going through. "Can I see Dr. Grant?" Amelia asked. The nurse hesitated, then nodded. "Let me check if he's available." When Amelia entered the doctor's office, Dr. Grant looked up from his desk with a stiff smile, the kind that hides fear. "Mrs. Reed, you came back." Amelia didn't sit. "Doctor, I want the truth, all of it." He cleared his throat, adjusting his glasses. "Truth about what exactly? The pregnancy, the surrogate, my husband, the strange behaviors, everything." The doctor exhaled slowly. "Mrs. Reed, these things are sensitive." "No," Amelia cut in, voice steady. "What is happening is wrong, and you know it." Her voice startled him. He leaned back in his chair, avoiding her eyes. "Amelia, things got complicated, more complicated than you realize." "Then simplify it," she said firmly. "Is the baby mine and Daniel's or not?" Dr. Grant's fingers trembled slightly as he tapped the table. "Mrs. Reed, medically, legally, emotionally, I can't say what I'm not allowed to say." Her heart sank. "So you can't say it's ours?" He looked away. That silence spoke louder than any words. Amelia stepped closer. "Doctor, I saw Daniel with her. I saw the way he looked at Linda. I'm not here to guess anymore." The doctor finally looked at her, tired eyes, weighed down by guilt. "Mrs. Reed," he whispered, "be careful. The people around you are not who they pretend to be." Her breath caught. "What does that mean?" He shook his head, refusing to say more. "Dr. Sum, please. I'm the one who is hurting. I'm the one being lied to." A long pause filled the room. Then he said the words that broke her deeper. "Amelia, the pregnancy you're celebrating might not belong to you." Her knees weakened. She steadied herself against the table. "Explain," she whispered. But instead of explaining, Dr. Grant stood up, went to the door, and locked it quietly. His movements were slow, fearful, as if someone could walk in at any moment. "Mrs. Reed," he said, voice barely above a breath, "I have worked in this clinic for years. I have seen many things, but what your husband and Linda are involved in, I have never seen anything like it." Amelia's chest tightened. "What are they involved in?" The doctor wiped his forehead. "I can't tell you everything, but I will tell you this. You need to protect your heart and prepare yourself, because the truth will hurt." A single tear rolled down Amelia's cheek. "Is Daniel the father?" The doctor swallowed hard. "I cannot confirm it, but I also cannot deny it." Those words shattered her. She turned away, her breathing uneven. "Why didn't you tell me before now?" "Because I wasn't allowed to," he said helplessly. "And because Linda, she insisted everything remain hidden." Amelia froze. "Linda insisted?" "Yes." The next morning, Amelia could not eat. She stared at her phone for hours, thinking about the doctor's words, the strange call, and Daniel's behavior. A mix of fear and anger churned in her chest. She had always trusted him. She had always believed their marriage was built on honesty and love, but instinct screamed otherwise. Her hands shook as she unlocked Daniel's old phone. a habit she had tried to avoid, but now felt necessary. Messages flooded the screen, late-night chats, secret codes, words she could not unsee. Are you sure she won't find out? I can't stop thinking about you. It's getting hard to hide. Her body went cold. She sat on the edge of the bed, phone trembling. The betrayal was not imagined. Daniel was not only hiding things from her, he had broken her trust completely. And Linda, the woman she had trusted to carry her child, was part of the lie. Amelia's mind raced. How long had this been going on? How could he do this to her? Her hands tightened around the phone. She remembered the stranger's words. Be careful, not everyone is who they pretend to be. Now, she knew. She could no longer pretend. She could no longer ignore the truth. When Daniel returned from work that evening, she confronted him immediately. Whose baby is Linda carrying? She asked, voice trembling but firm. He froze. The usual charm, the reassuring smile, vanished. His lips pressed into a thin line. Amelia, let's talk calmly, he began. Answer me, she shouted, tears welling. Is the baby ours or not? Was she ever a surrogate, or is this your child? Daniel's eyes flickered with guilt. It was a mistake. I was weak. I didn't mean for it to go this far. Amelia's heart cracked. She could barely breathe. You got the woman carrying our baby, pregnant with your own child? She wasn't the surrogate, he admitted quietly. We never found a surrogate. I told you we did, to keep things simple. The words hit Amelia like a hammer. Every dream she had held, every hope, every prayer, now felt like sand slipping through her fingers. Her marriage, her family, the life she believed in, all built on lies. Her mind flashed back to the stranger's call, to the doctor's trembling words, to Daniel's secret glances with Linda. It all made sense now. The morning after the revelation, the house felt like a stranger's. Every corner whispered betrayal. Amelia walked into the kitchen, where sunlight barely penetrated through the curtains. Daniel sat at the table, untouched coffee steaming in front of him, eyes avoiding hers. You look like you're hiding something, Amelia said quietly. Her voice was steady, colder than she expected. Daniel sighed, running a hand through his hair. Amelia, please, let's talk calmly. We can fix this. Fix this? She snapped, placing both hands on the table. You lied. You got our supposed surrogate pregnant with your own child. You lied to me for months. How do you even say, we can fix this? He flinched, shame creeping into his posture. It was a mistake. I was weak. I didn't think it would go this far. Stop, she yelled, voice echoing in the empty kitchen. Her hands shook. Stop excusing yourself. Do you know what it feels like to trust someone? To hope, and then, bam, it all shatters. The air thickened. Even the birds outside seemed to pause. Amelia's mind replayed everything. The stranger's call, the doctor's warnings, the secretive glances at the clinic, the late-night messages she had found. Each memory was a knife twisting in her heart. You betrayed me, she whispered, barely audible, tears threatening. And you involved someone else in our supposed dream. Our dream, Daniel. How could you do this? Daniel's face twisted with guilt. Amelia, I never meant for this to happen. I wanted a child. By lying? By deceiving me? By breaking my heart? She shouted. Her voice cracked, the room shaking with her anger and pain. Silence fell. The only sound was the distant hum of traffic outside, an ironic reminder that the world moved on while her world had stopped. Amelia's hands clenched into fists. I trusted you. I believed in us. And now, I don't even know who you are anymore. Daniel stood, trying to reach her, but she stepped back. Her eyes were fire. Don't. Don't touch me. Not until you understand the depth of what you've done. Her words hung like heavy rain. For the first time, Daniel saw the weight of his betrayal. He understood that apologies could no longer heal what had been broken. Amelia could not stop thinking about Daniel's betrayal. The house felt suffocating, each room echoing with his lies. She needed answers, but not from him. She needed the other person. Grace, Linda Marshall, the woman who was supposed to carry Amelia's child. Amelia found herself at a small cafe in Guarimpa, a neutral place far from home. Grace was already there, seated alone, hands wrapped around a cup of tea, eyes calm but wary. Amelia sat opposite her. "Why my husband?" Her voice was low, but every word was sharp, cutting the air between them. Grace looked up slowly, as if studying her, weighing her words. "Edward wanted a child," she said simply. "You were busy, always working, traveling, pushing him aside. I didn't force anything. He came to me." Amelia's hands clenched around her coffee cup. "So this is my fault?" Grace shrugged, calm, almost too calm. "Life happens. Choices are made. You weren't there. I was. He wanted it. That's all." Amelia's eyes burned. "You knew. You knew he was my husband. And you still—" Grace didn't flinch. "He chose me, not you, not for this. I didn't break your marriage. He did. Don't blame me for his weakness." Amelia felt a strange mix of anger and relief. Anger, because Grace had sided with Daniel's betrayal. Relief, because now the truth was out. Finally, no more guessing, no more shadows. "You don't feel guilty?" Amelia asked, voice trembling. Grace sipped her tea, eyes calm. "Guilt is for people who regret choices. I don't regret helping a man have what he wanted. That's life, sometimes bitter, sometimes sweet. But it is what it is." Amelia felt tears sting her eyes, but this time they were not for confusion. They were for clarity. She finally saw who the enemy really was. Not herself, not Grace. It was Daniel. She stood abruptly. "I hope you know this won't end well for either of you," she said, voice cold but firm. "Because people who destroy trust eventually lose more than they imagine." Grace smiled faintly, unbothered. "We'll see." Amelia walked out of the cafe, head held high, heart racing. She felt lighter, angry yes, but lighter. She had answers, and answers gave her power. Days had passed since Amelia confronted Grace. The pain was still raw, but she had begun to reclaim control over her mind. She needed proof, something solid to anchor her decisions. She couldn't rely on Daniel's apologies or Grace's words. That afternoon, Amelia returned to their home in Jabi. The house felt quieter, almost empty. She started cleaning her late mother's old study room, searching for any documents that might hold clues about Daniel and Grace. In the back of a drawer, she found a stack of letters. One envelope, thicker than the rest, had no return address. Amelia hesitated. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside was a handwritten letter from Grace. "Amelia, I hope you never see this, but if you do, know the truth. I am carrying Daniel's child. You were meant to believe it was yours. I am sorry you had to find out this way. We all made choices, but I chose him. I chose the child. Don't trust anyone blindly." Amelia sank into the chair, shaking. Every word burned her heart, but every sentence confirmed what she had feared. Grace had planned this. Every smile, every visit, every word of reassurance was a lie. Tears streamed down her face, but beneath the sorrow, a spark of determination ignited. This letter was proof, proof that she had not imagined the betrayal, proof that Daniel had lied, and proof that Grace was complicit. Amelia took a deep breath. She needed to act, but she also needed clarity. She would not allow anger to cloud her judgment. She folded the letter carefully and placed it in her bag. Later, Daniel returned home. He looked hopeful, smiling, unaware of the letter sitting silently in Amelia's bag. "Amelia, can we talk?" he asked, leaning against the doorframe. She looked at him, cold and calm. "We will talk," she said softly. "But not today." Daniel's face fell. "Why?" "Because I know everything now," Amelia replied, standing tall. "I have proof, and until I decide what to do with it, there's nothing you can say that will matter." Daniel's hands fell to his sides. For the first time, he realized the depth of Amelia's awareness and the power she had gained from it. Amelia walked to the window, gazing at Abuja's skyline, sunlight reflecting off the city's buildings. She felt a strange mix of grief and empowerment. Amelia spent the morning pacing through the living room, the letter burning in her mind. She knew she could not avoid Daniel forever. Every tick of the clock pressed her closer to a confrontation she had dreaded, but could no longer postpone. When Daniel returned that evening, he carried a bouquet of flowers and an apologetic smile. "Amelia, please can we talk?" he asked gently, setting the flowers on the table. Amelia's eyes narrowed. "Talk? Daniel, it's too late for small talk. Sit, now." He hesitated, then obeyed, sinking into the sofa. His eyes were wary, the guilt of weeks, maybe months, visible. She sat across from him, hands folded, breathing controlled. "I found the letter," she said, voice low but firm. Daniel's face went pale. "Letter?" "Yes," she said, pulling it from her bag. She placed it in front of him. "Grace wrote it. I have proof of everything. Your lies, your betrayal, the pregnancy, every word." He looked down at the paper, face twitching. "Amelia, why?" "No," she cut him off. "No more excuses. No more lies. I want answers, all of them, right now. Why did you do it? Why betray me and involve her?" Daniel swallowed hard, voice trembling. "I wanted a child. I was impatient. I thought you wouldn't understand. I thought I could handle it. I—" Amelia shook her head, tears forming despite herself. "You thought wrong. Do you even realize what you've done to me? To us? You took the woman I trusted to carry our child and made her a part of your lies. And all this time, I smiled, believing in something that was never real." He closed his eyes, guilt heavy on his shoulders. I know I hurt you more than I can ever explain. I was selfish, Amelia. She leaned forward, her voice rising. "Selfish doesn't even cover it, Daniel. You destroyed trust. You destroyed peace. And now, I don't know if I can forgive you." For a long moment, silence filled the room. The bouquet of flowers wilted in the vase. Outside, the city lights of Abuja flickered faintly through the windows. Finally, Daniel spoke, voice breaking. I'll do anything to make it right. Anything, please. I don't want to lose you." Amelia's eyes softened slightly, but only slightly. "It's not about what you want anymore. It's about what I need. And right now, I need space. I need time. And you need to face the consequences of your actions." Amelia had spent days alone, thinking, planning, and slowly regaining her strength. The betrayal of Daniel and the calculated lies of Grace had left her shaken, but she was no longer paralyzed by pain. She needed guidance, someone who could help her navigate the storm. One rainy afternoon, she found herself at a small community center in Maitama, visiting an old friend from university, Claire. Claire had always been honest, wise, and unafraid to speak the truth. "Amelia, it's been too long," Claire said, embracing her tightly. "But I can see something's wrong." Amelia hesitated, then let the words flow. She recounted everything: the supposed surrogate, the pregnancy, Daniel's betrayal, Grace's confession, and the letter. Claire listened, eyes widening in disbelief, but never interrupting. When Amelia finished, Claire took a deep breath. "You are stronger than you realize, but you cannot face this alone. You need allies, people who will help you take control of the situation." Amelia shook her head. "I don't want revenge. I just want justice. I want them to understand the consequences of what they've done." Claire nodded. "Then we start by documenting everything: letters, messages, conversations, evidence. You cannot let lies continue unchecked." Amelia felt a spark of relief. For the first time, she felt supported. She had someone on her side. As they planned their steps, a knock came at the door. It was not expected. A messenger handed Amelia a sealed envelope with no return address. She opened it carefully. Inside was a photo: Daniel and Grace smiling together in a private setting, Grace's hand on her stomach. Written at the back, in neat handwriting, were the words, "Do you really think you can stop this?" Amelia's chest tightened. This was no longer just about anger or betrayal. It was about control, power, and courage. Daniel and Grace were not going to stop unless she took the lead. Claire put a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We'll figure this out. Step by step. You are not alone." Amelia took a deep breath, folding the photo carefully. The storm outside reflected her inner turmoil, rain hitting the window in steady, rhythmic drops. But amid the chaos, she felt a flicker of determination. She would not let fear dictate her choices. Amelia sat at the small table in Claire's apartment, the rain tapping steadily against the windows. Letters, photos, and printed messages from Daniel and Grace were spread before her. Every piece told a story of lies, betrayal, and manipulation. She had spent days absorbing the weight of it all. Pain had given way to resolve. Fear had given way to strategy. Claire looked at her, eyes calm but piercing. "We need a plan. You can't rush this, Amelia. One wrong move, and they'll know you're onto them. You need leverage, witnesses, timing. Everything must be precise." Amelia nodded, her jaw firm. "I want them to see that their lies have consequences, not just for them, but for anyone who thinks they can manipulate others without repercussions." Claire laid out a folder of evidence. Messages, letters, Grace's confession, the photo, they all go into a timeline. We document everything. Then we confront them, legally and personally. You don't act out of anger. You act out of proof. Amelia took a deep breath. The weight of responsibility settled on her shoulders, but it no longer crushed her. Instead, it sharpened her focus. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. It was a text from Daniel. "Amelia, we need to talk. Please, don't involve anyone else. Let me explain." Amelia read the words carefully. She didn't respond. Not yet. She knew that responding could give him insight into her next move. Claire leaned over. "Do not engage. Not until you're ready. They will try to manipulate you again. Stay calm. Stay strategic. Amelia's mind raced through possibilities. She imagined the confrontation, Daniel and Grace unable to deny the evidence, finally seeing the consequences of their actions. Then a twist came to her mind. Perhaps they would try to use the baby to control her. She had to plan for that too. Any move must anticipate manipulation, guilt trips, and threats. She scribbled notes on a piece of paper, a detailed step-by-step plan. Witnesses to call, legal advisors to contact, moments to document. Every angle covered, every potential trick accounted for. Finally, she leaned back and exhaled slowly. For the first time in weeks, she felt a quiet power. The storm outside mirrored her inner determination, rain falling relentlessly, yet cleansing. Claire smiled faintly. "You're ready. You're calm. You're not letting them break you. That's what they never expected, and that's what will make all the difference." Amelia looked out at the rainy streets of Abuja. People rushed past, indifferent to her struggle. But inside, she felt a sense of control. She had the truth. She had evidence. And most importantly, she had a plan. The day had arrived. Amelia's plan, carefully crafted over weeks, would finally be put into action. The confrontation was no longer just a thought. It was reality. She entered her home in Jabi, carrying the folder with all evidence, every document, every photo, every confession, neatly arranged. Daniel was in the living room, pretending to read a magazine, but Amelia knew he was tense, waiting for a sign that she might forgive. Amelia didn't waste time. She placed the folder on the table, flipping it open. "Daniel, Grace, we need to talk. Everything is here, and it will tell the truth better than I ever could." Grace appeared from the kitchen, her confident smile faltering as she noticed the folder. Daniel's eyes widened, guilt clear in every movement. Amelia spoke calmly but firmly, her voice echoing through the house. "Daniel, Grace, every lie, every secret, every betrayal, you can't hide it anymore. I have proof." She spread the documents across the table, photos of Daniel and Grace together, the letter from Grace, printed messages, a clear timeline of every deception. Daniel tried to reach for her hand. "Amelia, please, we can explain. You don't understand." "Stop!" Amelia's voice rang, steady and cold. "I understand perfectly. And this," she tapped the folder, "is the truth. Not my opinion. Not your excuses. Truth." Grace stepped back, visibly shaken, her usual confidence cracking. Amelia continued, "You thought you could manipulate me, shame me, control me with lies. But today, you see that lies have consequences." Daniel's voice was small, almost a whisper. "Amelia, I didn't mean to hurt you like this." "You didn't mean to hurt me?" Amelia laughed bitterly, shaking her head. "You planned it. You involved her. You made choices that destroyed my trust. Meaning doesn't matter anymore." The room was heavy with tension, silence broken only by the distant hum of traffic from Abuja outside. Amelia leaned forward, her eyes piercing. "From this moment, you have two choices. Face the truth with me honestly, and perhaps, maybe, we can salvage something, or continue in lies. And I will ensure everyone knows exactly what you've done, including our families, the clinic, and the law." Daniel swallowed hard. Grace looked down, speechless. The power had shifted. Amelia was no longer the betrayed. She was the force confronting betrayal. Finally, Daniel nodded slightly. "Amelia, we will face it. We will do whatever it takes to fix this." Amelia's eyes softened just a little. "Then prove it." every day, with honesty, not with lies, not with apologies alone. Proof. The storm outside mirrored the intensity inside the house. Rain poured over Abuja, lightning flashing, thunder shaking the walls. But inside, Amelia felt a strange calm. She had confronted the deception, demanded accountability, and set the terms for what came next. The confrontation was over. Daniel and Grace had seen the truth laid bare, and for the first time, Amelia felt a weight lift from her shoulders. But the end of the storm did not mean peace. It meant choices. She sat by the window, rain still falling lightly on Abuja's streets. The city glimmered in the evening lights, vibrant and indifferent, a perfect reflection of life moving forward, whether one was ready or not. Daniel approached cautiously, head bowed. "Amelia, I know I've broken your trust. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I want to try. I want to make things right." Amelia studied him silently. The folder with evidence was still on the table, a reminder of every lie, every betrayal. "Daniel," she said softly, "trust isn't rebuilt with words alone. It's built with actions. If you truly want redemption, you will prove it every single day. Not just to me, but to yourself." Grace stood silently in the corner, her usual arrogance gone, replaced with shame. Amelia met her eyes. "You have your own path to follow," she said. "I hope you learn from this." The room was heavy with unspoken emotions. Amelia realized that closure was not about punishing others. It was about reclaiming her own life. Later that evening, Amelia returned to her study. She took out the letter from Grace, the photos, and all documents. Instead of tearing them up in anger, she placed them neatly in a box. They were reminders, yes, but also proof of her strength, proof that she had survived, and proof that she could rise above betrayal. Her phone buzzed. A message from Claire. "You've done it. You've faced the storm and survived. Now the world is yours." Amelia smiled faintly. "Yes," she whispered. "It is mine." The next morning, the sun broke through Abuja's skyline. Amelia walked along the balcony, feeling the warmth on her skin. She thought about her future, the possibility of love, trust, and family rebuilt on honesty and care. She had learned painful lessons. Betrayal cuts deep, but strength grows deeper. Trust must be earned, honesty respected, and courage exercised every day. As she looked out at the city, Amelia felt a surge of hope. She had faced lies, heartbreak, and manipulation, and emerged stronger, wiser, and ready to embrace a new beginning. Dear viewers, what lesson did you take away from this dramatic tale? We'd love to hear from your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the story, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest updates. Thanks for watching and stay blessed.